From the front to the back and the side to side. If you feel what I feel, put them up real high. Front to the back and the side to side. If you feel what I feel, put them up real high. 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 Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cover I'm bleeding. This is my last resort. Wake me up. Wake me up inside. Wake up. Wake me up inside. Call my name and save me from
It's Team Ragoza.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Rap Sheet Podcast, where creatives and culture meet. I am your man in charge, the head nerd in charge, Mr. DJ Daz1. And today we have DJ legends, music legends, iconic legends. I don't even know what the superlatives to give these two people, but if you are in the DJ world, if you are in the entertainment world, and you do not know these two people, sit your asses down, because we are about to have a wonderful, wonderful time. I had the pleasure of meeting this brother maybe 3-4 months ago let's go last year. He did an event called Funk at the Rooftop, and I came to see him the night before. He was playing at Power and Light. My friend DJ Ryan Garvey was there, and that's when I found out that this man is from Massachusetts, just like me. Dorchester in the house every day, all day. That's why I'm wearing New Edition gear, because it's the closest thing I had to Boston. So I just had to do that. And they were really friendly. And I met his wife, who is also sitting down. So Desiree, we're going to get into her story, his story. But if you don't know who this man is, chances are you got one of his 5-hour mixes. Chances are you've seen one of his reviews for the Rev 5, the Rev 7. You've seen his scratching abilities. Some of you have been at the DMC venues and you've seen him perform there throughout the many years from 2015 to 2017. If you haven't known this man, I don't know where you've been for the last 20, 25 years, but this man is one of the most official, consistent, mashup, open format DJs in the game. He's an instructor, he's a founder, he's a husband, and we're going to get into all that. And all this started when he was a construction worker. He's that. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you Team Ragoza, Brandon and Desiree Ragoza. Let's give them.
Team Ragoza.
Yes. How y'all
What
doing?
is up, man? Thank you for that intro.
Yeah, that
Making me blush.
Hey, when you put in the work, I like to acknowledge everything that you've done, because I feel it's really important for DJs of myself to look at other DJs, the way they brand themselves, and you can always learn. I've been doing it for almost 30 years, and I'm still a work in progress. You're always a work in progress. So,
Yep, 100%.
So let's get into it. We're going to start with the lady first.
Okay.
No disrespect to the brother, but Desiree, what's going on?
I'm doing great. I've been busy. Just like a lot of stuff going on. I actually recently entered my first DJ battle coming up soon, so I've been kind of preparing for that.
You want to speak on that battle real quick? What's it about? Talk about it real fast.
So it's a local DJ battle here in Virginia Beach, because we live in Virginia Beach now.
Okay.
We moved from Massachusetts recently, but it's called the Ice and Music Competition. It's their 8th one that they're doing, and I believe like the judging is solely based on like mixing and stuff. So this will be like my first live battle. I did one last year online, but it was like a mashup competition. I actually made it to the semifinals, so I'm excited to kind of put more of what I've been learning through my husband with my scratching and mixing and everything, and like try to implement it as much as possible in this competition coming up.
Amen and amen. Well, good luck. Is there any way we can see it online, or do you have to buy a ticket to physically be there?
I want to say it's free to the public to come in. They might be working on a link on their website. I'm not sure what it is right now, but like they might be live streaming it.
If there is, just please let me know, because I'd love to check it out and all that good stuff. But let's start from the beginning. So you represent Connecticut. Shout out to Connecticut all day, every day. I used to live in West Hartford way back in the early 90s.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
so I am familiar with it somewhat. I actually was at the venue, Hartford Civic Center. This was 1995, and this was the last time I would have saw the Notorious B.I.G. He performed live. And
Wow.
next time I heard about him, he unfortunately passed away 2 years later. So I was thankful for that moment. It was him, Naughty by Nature. It was a whole slew of artists, but it was a fantastic show, and Biggie just did what Biggie does. So salute to Notorious B.I.G. You started singing and playing guitar at the age of 3. Is that correct?
That's
Wow.
correct.
What made you decide to go that route at such a young age? Because those are very two hard practices to really discipline yourself in doing. So what made you go that route?
So it all started really because of my dad. He played more guitar like as a hobby and everything, and I grew up on like Reba McEntire, Triumph, Jimi Hendrix, and Jeff Beck, like a lot of artists from that time, and like Dickie Betts. And Triumph was always like a big favorite, Joe Satriani, and I would always watch my dad play. And when he had his full-size guitar, sometimes he put it down. I'd go over, try to like pick at it a little bit, and he would yell at me because that was like his prized possession, like his one and only. And but I kept going back to it, but like picking up like the guitar pick, trying to play some stuff on it, and that's when he like kind of put the 2 and 2 together that he wanted to buy me a kid size, and then he wrote like on the top of it certain notes to help like teach me how to play. And just ever since I picked it up, like it was hard for me to put it down. I put like 8-9 hours in just to try to practice. He would teach me how to change strings and how to do the maintenance on it and stuff, and I just fell in love with it. And part of it too was just watching him play songs that like I would hear and like expect like the same thing I'm hearing from the CD, and he would play the notes wrong, so it would frustrate me. So I would want to learn it for myself and try to play it myself.
Do you remember the first song that you learned?
The very first song, I was 3, but I was learning "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple.
Wow, shout out to Deep Purple all day. So that's very disciplined, because at 3 years old, I think I was just learning how to play hide and seek. Never mind picking up an instrument or anything like that. So that is kudos to your discipline at that age to do it. So age 5, you started entering competitions. Now, were you nervous? I know you train night and day and night, but being on stage in front of people is a whole different bag, no matter how hard you've been practicing. So what gave you, I won't say what gave you the courage, because you were learning and everything, but when you did these local competitions, what was that atmosphere like? How did you do? What did you learn from it? You know, we learn by trial by error. So speak on that moment real quick, what you learned, what you didn't learn, how fun it was, and did you win?
So when I was little, my dad would enter me into like some local competitions, and there was actually a couple. Well, the first one I did, I was actually 8, but it was in the Brooklyn Fair in Connecticut, and they were having a little talent show, and I actually won 2nd place on that. But my dad picked out a couple songs for me to try out in the competition, and I would practice them like hours on end. And my dad was like kind of like strict about it at that point. Like, it's one of those things I'm happy for. It's like one of the best ways to train for me, honestly. Like, if I'm learning a song and I mess up somewhere, I go right back to the beginning and just keep building and working my way just to get myself comfortable with the songs and really familiarize myself with them. But I did that, and then when I was around 12, 13, there was a couple of competitions I did in New York. One was like I forget what it was called. It's like the Solera USA. It was like a world battle of some sort where they had like all sorts of talent from like singers, break dancers, they had bands, like a whole big thing. And I won 2nd place on that, silver medal.
Amazing. Oh, I heard something fall.
That was my phone.
Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. That's dope, man. I don't really know how many female guitar players there are. I know Nancy and Ann Wilson from Heart, and I think that's really all that I know as far as like globally recognized.
Jennifer Batten for Michael Jackson.
Wow, we're gonna get into that because, yeah, we're just gonna go straight there. But you went to the University of Connecticut at the age of 12 to study their music program. Like at this point, you were just all in, and That's just amazing. But let's fast forward to when you met Doug Wimbash. Now, I just texted you a few moments ago telling you how I grew up listening to Living Color as like literally the first all-black band that would really just capitalize the music industry at that time. How did you meet Doug, and how did y'all end up working together on one of the biggest tours, which we're going to get into? But speak on how you met Doug and Living Color.
Of course. So when I was 12, that was right about the time, like when my father felt it was like the right age for me to start playing out at like clubs and bars and venues and stuff. And I could only go like as long as I had like a parent and guardian and all that. And he took me to my first open mic. It was a Sunday night, and they had a sign-up list. So I signed up and played 2-3 songs. And Doug happened to be there in the audience and watched me play that night. And that's when we kind of like connected. Like he was looking forward to working with me, and he had me under a label for a year that he had. And I worked with him in the studio and stuff. We had a band put together, and we worked very closely. We became really good friends and stayed in touch. And he still talks to me every now and then. And he invites me back for like his local Wimbash back in Connecticut sometimes.
That's amazing. That's crazy. So when just for laughs, I just got to ask, when Living Color was at WrestleMania, performing for CM Punk on the stage, were you there for that?
I wasn't, but I watched it. It was so cool.
That was so cool to see that. Absolutely. So then from there, you got to play alongside like the legendary Allman Brothers and Ted Nugent, and one of my favorite singers that I personally think is very underrated, whether it was post Van Halen or when he was with the group, Sammy Hagar.
Yes.
Wow. Please share an experience with the Allman Brothers, with Ted and with Sammy that will live with you forever, like a individual moment with all three, if you don't mind.
Sure. So with the Allman Brothers, like I didn't get to play like with the whole band per se, but I did perform with like Dickie Betts and his band when I was in Florida when I was 17. So all of his band members and we kind of collaborated doing some shows together down in Florida for like a week long. We did a mix of like Allman Brothers / Dickie Betts writings and some of my songs, and put like a different twist to it to more like Southern rock style. And that was a lot of fun. And actually, somebody that used to be in Dickie Betts' band, his name is David Stoles. He was actually my guitar teacher when I was a teenager. So that's how I kind of got involved in that world of the Allman Brothers and Dickie Betts. And he was my guitar teacher for a few years. I took private lessons with him. And then he was also my bassist in my band for a little while.
Wow, and this is just 17. What? Wow. Ted Nugent, legend in the game. Everybody and their grandmother knows who Ted is. What is something that he gives pearls of, people give pearls of wisdom. What is something that resonated with you that he told you, advice, something about the work, the game, like something that sticks with you to this very day?
To be like very protective of your energy and yourself, and you have to surround yourself with good people at all times. Like I forget exactly how he worded it, but it was something along the lines of surrounding yourself with assholes, you're done. You get involved with drugs, you're done. Like he was very blunt about it. Super nice guy, very humble though, and everybody has their opinions about him, but no mistake. Like he's an incredible performer, guitar player, very nice guy, very sociable, and just he had a lot of wisdom for me that I took into my career to this day, of like the importance of like being around amazing people like yourself and like my husband and a lot of other amazing DJs I've encountered within the last few years.
Now we're going to pause on that because we're going to talk about Michael Jackson and all those experiences in just a little bit, but let me focus on the man of the hour right now. Mr. DJ Ragoza, you are a Mass native from Chesterfield, Massachusetts.
Middle of nowhere.
And I read online somewhere that you said you went from being a construction worker to where you are now. How did your career start in the wonderful world of DJing? Start from the very beginning with your parents getting you the turntable, the mixer, and the records as a birthday gift. Let's start from the very beginning.
Okay, yeah. So like when I was like a kid, I actually wanted to do what Desiree does. I wanted to play guitar. So I grew up listening to as a young kid, I was listening to rock. There was a station in Connecticut. You were probably around for it. There was a station called Power 104. No, that was the hip hop station. But before that, it was called Radio 104, back in the 90s. And it would play the modern rock of the time and everything. And so one night I'm listening to the radio and I hear a song that sounds familiar, but it sounds different at the same time, and I was like confused. But looking back now, I know it was a remix. I just didn't know that at the time. Now, when this song was supposed to end, it didn't end. It just kept going, and then it went into another song, and I was like, whoa, what happened? It was crazy. So from that point on, I think I was like 11 at that point. I was just obsessed with like mixing, and I didn't know how it worked. I pictured someone sitting at like a big ass like soundboard with like a million levers and knobs. All I knew was that music was blending together seamlessly, and it just blew my mind. And like in my head, I would like think of like different songs to mix with different songs that I knew, and like how I would do it if I knew how to like operate the equipment and everything. Like I didn't even once again know what the equipment looked like or anything. Now fast forward a couple of years, in 2001 Hot 93.7 came on the air, and when Hot 93.7 came on the air, I got to hear the hip hop DJs, because the DJ I heard on Radio 104, he was it's a guy named Dave Dresden. Back then he used to go by Dave the Wave, and he would mix like alternative rock remixes and a lot of the big beat music that was coming out at the time, like Fatboy Slim, Crystal Method, and the sound that the Beastie Boys were messing with. So his style of mixing was way different. So when Hot 93.7 came on the air and I got to hear the way the hip hop DJs would mix, I was really just taken over the top by like how much I wanted to do this. And I remember a specific example. I remember DJ KG, hearing him, and he was playing Rough Riders Anthem by DMX, and at the end he caught like the word shop, shut 'em down, open up shop, and he was like transforming it like shut, and I was like, whoa, like wow. It just blew my mind. So at that point the internet wasn't really what it is now, but I was able to do enough research to figure out, okay, I need turntables, I need a mixer. So I think it was my 14th birthday, 14th or 15th, I really don't remember. But it was somewhere around that time where I just told my parents I want DJ equipment for my birthday. And the funny thing is, they bought me a guitar for my 13th birthday because they thought that's what I always wanted. So on my 13th birthday, they bought me a guitar, but at this point I was already listening to the to the DJs, and I was like, oh man, like I'm gonna stick it out for like a year to make them happy. And I did. I sucked at it though. I was really bad at the time. Nowhere near Desiree's level.
Right.
So when I told them I want DJ gear, they were like, "Oh, is this going to be another phase like the guitar?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so. I really am like obsessed with this." So from that point forward, that's I knew I wanted to DJ, but then growing up, like people give you advice with good intention, but they don't realize like they're potentially robbing you of your dreams. They'll say things like, it's great that you have these dreams and goals, but make sure you always have a backup plan, or saying things like you got to think realistically, or you got to DJing is cool, but you want to make sure that you're set for life. So when I got old enough and I was able to join my dad's company as a union laborer at the age of 18, that's what I did, and that's what I was supposed to do with my life at that point. I had it all written out for me. I was gonna work X amount of years in the company, and then potentially maybe take it over one day as his son, and that was gonna be my life. I was technically set as far as job security and finances go, but I was not happy. That was not my passion. I hated doing it. So, on the side, I would start DJing on weekends and stuff like that. I would, DJ like hip hop shows for local rappers and stuff like that when I was like, 19. And that's how I started getting into bars and everything. So on the weekends I was doing gigs, but then, I would have to do this full-time construction job, and it just was killing me. So finally I made the decision one day to just go for it. I was like, I'm not going to do this with my life. I can't envision that. My passion for DJing is too strong. I have to pursue it.
At this time, who were some of the DJs that you looked up to that were already solidified in the game? If you could just mention a few names that really influenced you to get you to where you are now.
Well, of course, I got to shout out all the Hot 93.7 DJs, DJ KG, DJ Craig G, Big Man, Clinton Sparks, Billy Bush, DJ Drake. All those guys had a huge influence on me, like massive. Like they taught me how to DJ, like without me even knowing them, just listening to them taught me how to DJ. And then my biggest influence of all is DJ Spinbad. Oh. So DJ Spinbad, rest in peace. He just really, like when I heard him, I thought I already knew everything there was to know about DJing, and then I heard him, and I was just like,
okay, I got a lot.
Back to the drawing board I go.
One of the things that I like about you, you taught yourself, and you literally learn like by listening just to radio DJs. Like I started by just going to clubs and just standing in the corner and just watching, not asking any questions, observe how they transition, when they spoke, when to bring in a song that has an instrumental playing. Like I just watched and watched and watched and watched. What did you learn just by listening to DJs on the radio? Because you're not seeing them, you're just hearing them. So how did you, what fundamentals did you pick up by listening to the radio, and what were the first things you learned, if you can recall some of those early lessons?
Oh yeah, definitely. So like when I first heard hip hop DJs mixing, especially, one of the things that really stood out to me was the blends, putting the acapellas over different beats. And at the time, like, you know, obviously because I couldn't see it, I pictured them just pressing a button. Like we can actually do this now, which is cool. We're just able to do this now as more recently. But back then, I just envisioned, okay, they're just pressing a button to get the vocal. So I would even call up the radio station sometimes and be like, hey, you guys should put the Ja Rule lyrics over these Nelly lyrics. And they were like, what the hell are you talking about, kid? Like, you know. But what I ended up doing was I would buy the same records that I heard the DJs on the radio playing. So I would, you know, I grew up in an area where there was zero culture around me. It was in the middle of nowhere. So I had to like kind of, you know, do all my research on the internet. And then I found like, okay, I can order from Beat Street in New York. I can order from Rock and Soul. I can order from Music Factory, which was around at the time. I even used to order records from DJ City before it was a digital record pool like it is today. I would order records from them online. And I would order all the same records that I heard the DJs on the radio playing. And when I got those records, I saw, okay, I have, you know, clean, dirty, instrumental, acapella. And, you know, that's when I figured out, okay, that's how they're doing these blends. They can't just make the acapella. They got to find it. And then the other thing I learned, the first time I bought records, I only bought one copy of each. And I realized, you know, okay, how are they doing these tricks that I hear? Like the, you know, going back and forth with the crossfader and bringing it back and all that. And I started to think about, okay, they're using 2 turntables and a mixer. They must have 2 copies of these records. So the next time I ordered records, I made sure I got 2 copies of each.
Yep.
And then from that point forward, I would just really listen to the tricks they would do and just try to dissect it. Like I would record them on cassette, rewind it back, listen over and over again, and then take the same records and try to recreate what I heard. Wow. And so doing that, I learned how to do basic transforming. Even though I didn't know that's what it was called, I just would, you know, try to mimic it. I wasn't even using the crossfader either. I was using the line switch fader on my mixer at the time. So I would just try to figure it out and just try to, I guess, reverse engineer what I was hearing and try to break it down. So I learned how to do basic scratching, basic beat juggling, basic trick mixing, you know, all the fundamentals I pretty much was able to learn just by listening to the DJs. For the more advanced stuff like crabs and flares and all that, that was stuff, you know, luckily later on, you know, YouTube came around. I was able to learn a lot from there. And then, you know, but yeah, like initially it was just listening, not hearing, just listening and dissecting. But I think that helped me in the long run because it really helped me absorb the techniques a lot more, because having to reverse engineer it and really break it down and think about how this could be done, I really locked those techniques in. So like at this point, you know, I don't even think about it. Those things are second nature, you know?
Amen and amen. I just want to say that Joey Sales says Team Ragoza, and he's doing like this. So
oh, nice. Yeah, that's our man right there. Yeah, that's Evovle DJs fan
Thank you
right
for
there.
tuning in, Joey. We appreciate it. If you're just now tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Brandon and Desiree, aka Team Ragoza. These are 2 bad
It's Team Ragoza.
This guy. Next time I say that, I'll shut up and just let you do that. Market your brand, sir. Not mad at it. So let's jump start. Let's fast forward a little bit, where you became an editor for the world famous Brooklyn Clan. How did this relationship start? From the because I love Brooklyn Clan. I love everything about them. Salute to Scissorhands and DJ R. I want to make sure my writing sucks right now. But DJ RR and Scissorhands. If I'm saying names wrong.
Oh yeah, DJ Riz.
There it is.
So yes.
You know what? This is a R-I-Z. My writing sucks. But anyway.
Oh yeah, no.
How did you meet them and began working with them?
So back in like the mid 2010s, I was going through a period of time where I felt like, okay, I'm from the middle of nowhere. I gotta like start putting content out there to like, you know, get myself more, you know, circulated, because I never like knew, like I was never good at like going out and like verbally networking with people, or like, you know, like I said, I grew up in the middle of nowhere, so a lot of that I didn't learn how to do. You know, not growing up in a big city, you kind of miss out on a lot of that stuff. So I was putting out a lot of videos on Facebook at the time, hoping like that would catch the attention of some people that could help me, you know, get to the next stage in my career. And luckily that's exactly what happened. So I was putting out all these mixing videos. Luckily this was before Facebook got really strict with their copyright laws. So I put out like these videos of me mixing for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, doing different genres, doing all this cool stuff. And Scissorhands started following me because of those videos, and he would leave a couple comments here, a couple comments there, but like the more consistent I was, he was like, wow, like, you know, you're really on point. And he messaged me one day and he goes, you know, do you make mashups? And I told him, well, I do, but I don't really give them out to anybody because I don't know if they're like, you know, good enough. You know, because I was always better at like doing stuff live. I had like just learned how to like use Ableton a little bit. I was messing around with it, but like the stuff I was making, I didn't share it with anybody because I thought it was trash. I was like, okay, I like it, but I don't know if I got the levels right. I don't know if I'm doing it, you know, the proper way or whatever. So when he asked me that, do you make mashups? I was like, well, I do privately, but I don't really give them out. And he said, you would be a lot richer if you put them out. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, you know, I can put you on Kirkland Clan because your ideas are so good, but you know, if you need help making edits, let me know or whatever. So I just took like about 9 edits that I made. I sent it into him and I was like, you know, I have nothing to lose, whatever. And he was just like, bro, these are good. Like I would put these on my site right now. And that's exactly what he did. So from that point forward, you know, I was with Kirkland Clan for about, you know, 2.5 years. And then I started, you know, doing my edit packs. That was really good. And then I did Crate Gang for a while. And now I'm with Direct Music Service. So I've been through a couple different camps as far as edits go. But, you know, I always give Scissorhands that credit because if it weren't for him encouraging me, I never would have started putting edits out there.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna shift back over to your wife because anyone listening right now is a fan in whatever 80s, 90s, 2K of the one and only Michael Jackson. And this woman, not one tour, but multiple tours doing. How did you link up to do the Cirque du Soleil Michael Jackson Immortal Tour? Because speak on it, Des. Speak on it. Because that's huge.
This one's a crazy story, so I'll start from the beginning. Basically, in 2010, that's when I graduated high school, and I had a few months that I had off, and I wasn't working and stuff, and I was doing shows here and there locally, and at that time, my mom offered me a job to work as a custodian, so I took it, and I was only there for like a few months because one day my dad got a phone call. I want to say it was around like March or April of 2011. But he got a phone call from this guy named Greg Philaganes, and he was talking to my dad on the phone like, oh, like I want to have her a part of this tour, and like going on the detail. My dad didn't take it that serious. He was outside doing yard work at this time when the call came in. He's like, yeah, I don't know how to feel about it, because like at the time my dad was managing me and he was trying to like take everyone seriously and do his research on people. So he comes in the house and goes to look up like what this tour was about. Michael Jackson Immortal World Tour by Cirque du Soleil, trying to see like the legitimacy of like who Greg Philaganes is and this tour and everything. And I had just gotten out of the shower. It was like 1 in the afternoon and I'm about to make myself some toast. So he looks at me very serious, like, you know what you just did? I was like, no, like panicking, like my heart dropped. He's like, get over here. So I look on the laptop and he's showing me this website. And I'm like, I didn't know how to feel about it that time. I'm like, oh, like, is this like a real thing? And it like took like a few days for me to process, like, oh my gosh, like this is like serious. Like everybody that's on the bill. And Greg Philaganes, basically, he was calling it, like handpicking the band. There was like 14 band members, but he got to handpick everybody from the singers. We had a cellist, Tina Guo, she's incredible, and of course we were solidifying the contract. And by July, I was out on the road just to Cirque du Soleil headquarters doing rehearsals with them, and the rest is kind of history from there. And I did that for about 3 years.
Wow! And then the Legacy Tour follows that. Wow! And you got to work with, like you said, people who are part of Michael Jackson's band from like all the, man, round of applause for that. That right there is just a testament to your drive just to be great. But now I gotta ask, when did the DJing aspect start for you? Because you came in to the game as a guitarist and a singer. When did you add DJing to your already lengthy resume?
So before my husband and I met, we met in 2020, and we met on Facebook dating. And before that, I didn't know anything about like the DJ culture. I'd never been in a nightclub to see a DJ or anything. I'd been in a nightclub a couple times, but never in the aspect of like seeing a DJ and like being behind the booth or knowing what it's like. Like I've heard like from like certain like popular pop songs, like, you know, little DJ scratches, so I was familiar with that, but I'd never been surrounded by it. So when we met and on Facebook dating, I saw his profile as a DJ and just like how he carries himself, how professional he is, and how passionate about it he is, and he's got that cute smile and everything. It's just like I couldn't help but message him, and I didn't think he was going to respond back to me coming from a country town of Ashford, Connecticut. It's like in the middle of nowhere. It's like I didn't think he was going to respond back, but he did, and and from there on, it's just we stayed in touch. We had our first date. We had a sushi date in Hartford, and then after that, it was like only like a couple weeks later, and we got legally married.
Wow, that was talk about quick. So not knowing much about the DJ industry at the time when you first met him, I'm sure you've heard all the negative things about the stigma that comes with us being DJs, groupies, this, and, you know, we're not going to run the gamut. Everyone knows what it is. Did that deter you from wanting to reach out to him, knowing that he was in a career that is very, how can I say, very cutthroat at times? Or did that, you just saw past that and just saw the person?
I just saw the person, because honestly, like, in my profile, like, I couldn't understand, like, how, like, I mean, we both been through it where it's like we dated people where they don't, like, they say that they support, like, the entertainment or what we do in our careers, but then just a little bit into it, like, they kind of, like, pull us away or give us these ultimatums and making us feel small about it, and, like, we need to have, like, steady jobs and stuff, and like, play a part in, you know, the typical social, the social acceptance.
I think we were definitely attracted to each other because we both were very upfront on our profiles about, you know, I DJ, that's my passion, and on her profile, I play guitar, that's my passion. So we both kind of looked at it as, okay, we should probably, it would be good to be with someone else who has a passion, because when you have a musical passion like that and then you're linked up with someone who doesn't, not all the time, but there are times where there can be an imbalance, you know what I mean, in certain situations. So, you know, for me, you know, and her, we both figured, okay, you know, we both have that in common, where we both have a passion for music, you know.
Right. And the rest is simply history. Now, Ragoza, the DMC, Battle for World Supremacy. Anyone that follows battle DJing or wants to know where the real creativity is at has seen these events or been to them. How did you first get involved with DMC? And you won your first one in 2015, if memory serves me correct, right?
Yep.
So explain the preparation for this, because a lot of people will see a 6-minute routine and just think, oh, I can do that. I'm like, no. I've never done one, but I've seen people train for this. This is something you got to train years and years for. So for no one that's seen it, tell them what the DMC is all about, how you became part of it, and the regimen you had to do to go through a 6-minute routine. Speak on that real quick.
So, so DMC actually stands for Disco Mixing Competition. Originally, it started off in the 80s as a mixing competition. That's what it was. But then in 1986, DJ Cheese brought scratching into it, and he won because his performance was like way more entertaining than everybody else's, according to the judges, because of his scratching. So by 1987, everybody was scratching, and by the end of the 80s, it was a full-blown turntablist battle. So from the 90s until now, it is known as a turntablist battle. So it's not about mixing. Now it's about, you know, how technical can you be on the turntables, you know? Now, the reason why I got involved with it is because, you know, I like rocking parties more than anything. I love mixing. That's still my favorite thing about DJing. But once again, hearing DJ Spindad back in the day and how good he was at scratching made me want to be, you know, good at scratching as well. I always want my scratching to be as top notch as I can possibly have it, so that way I can make my mixing more entertaining. So I figured, okay, if I go into DMC, and if I can hold weight in that, you know, in that field, then, you when it comes to mixing, I know my scratching is going to be more than good enough to, do the mixing I'm trying to do and have the effect that I want to do. So that's always been a big style of mine, putting mixing with the scratching. So that's why I got into DMC. And DMC, I don't know what's happening this year with it. Things got a little wonky after the lockdown and everything. But in the mid 2010s or early 2010s, when my first DMC battle was 2013 in Hartford. What I liked about the DMC at that period was that anybody could enter. Like, it wasn't like Red Bull where you have to be selected, you have to be part of the right clique and all that. Like, literally, if there was a DMC happening, like a regional battle happening near you, and you wanted to do it, all you had to do was send in an email saying you wanted to do it, and you could do it. Everybody got at least 2 minutes to do an elimination round. So that's what happens. The 2 minute elimination happens. That's where everybody gets their shine. But out of those 2 minute eliminations, they only choose 6 people. So there could be like 30 DJs, but only 6 are going to actually get to do their 6 minutes.
Wow.
So that's how it works. So there's a lot of pressure. So when you're preparing, so to get to the preparation part, when you're preparing, you got to prepare a 2 minute round, and then you have to prepare a 6 minute round. So you need 8 minutes of material. Some DJs do their first 2 minutes of their 6 minutes for their elimination. I don't like doing that, because if you do something dope and you get the crowd reaction and then you do it again, the crowd's not going to react the same way, So for me, it's all right. I need 8 minutes of material, and those 8 minutes, you want to try to come up with it at least 6 months before the battle. If you want to do well, if you're doing it for fun, whatever, but if you're actually trying to win, then you got to start preparing at least 6 months in advance, if not longer,
Oh yeah.
And then if you get into the US finals, it's even more, by that point, what usually happens is you already put in 6 months of work for your regional battle. So usually the regional battle and the national is about 4 months apart. So you have another 4 months to practice and add to your routine and, just make it as tight as possible. So you get like a total of what would that be? 10 months. 10 months of practice for the national finals.
10 months of training for 8 minutes on stage.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
But it really showed. Your 2017 performance, I just put the YouTube link. I was like, how is this? This is amazing. What? I could never, let me not say I could never do it, but I would have to start now, and I'm 50. I literally just turned 50 4 weeks ago. And I know I don't have the patience to do it now, but just to watch you do what you do, man, it's like, man, no one's beating this. No one is beating that. So salute to you. And you won 3 of these.
Yes.
Is it winning 1 is already difficult, but you won 3.
Yeah.
After you won the 3rd, which one was the most satisfying and why?
Well, actually, so I'm totally going to contradict myself here about the whole 6 months of practice thing, because if I know I'm going to battle 6 months ahead of time, I'll start practicing. So my most satisfying win though was 2017 in Florida, because I literally decided to do it the night before.
Wow.
I was in Florida already doing gigs, and I knew the DMC was happening, so it was one of those things where before, a couple months before, I was like, okay, I might do it. So I booked some gigs out there, so I'd be around there at the time. But then I got busy between, that point and when it actually happened. So I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just go out to Florida, have fun, do the gigs. I'll still go to the DMC. I'll watch it because I'm a fan as well. And, that'll be that. But then the night before, I just started thinking, man, what am I doing? I'm already here. I already, have some routines I know I could pull out and I might not have time to make new routines, but I could take some other routines that I've been practicing here and there and just kind of, run through them a couple times real quick and see how I do. So I was just like, why not? So I kind of did it for fun. And then I ended up winning. So that felt really good.
Wow.
But the thing is that I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not done previous battles. So still, those 6 months of practice I did for other battles, that muscle memory and all that still was with me at the time when I decided to do that last minute. So you see what I'm saying? So the time was still put in, it just was put in way in advance.
And then of course in 2022 he did one the very last minute online.
Oh yeah, that was different, yeah, because things were different that year. It was all online. Yeah, I would say the 2017 in Tampa. That was my favorite win. It was just because it was so spontaneous, and because I wasn't that serious. Like, because I didn't have the 6 months of practice behind me, I was taking it like I was like a little bit more laid back, I guess, with my performance, and it really, you know, it just happened to turn out the best way possible.
That's dope, man. Not and added pressure. You got Lord Finesse hosting the thing. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
And the way that he introduced you was like, yo, you gotta follow me. And he threw a little jab at the Red Sox in the beginning. Typical New Yorker.
I know. New York, yeah. It's hard to get love in New York if you're not from New York.
It really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. We will leave that one right.
Yes.
So, Desiree, when you're dating him now, you're married now, you see how he's in this to win this. When did the confidence grow in you that saying, okay, if my husband can do this, I already learned one thing, how to play guitar. I learned singing, I mastered that, I got albums out and all that. We'll talk about that later. I can add this, I can do this. Where did the motivations come to you to say, hey Brandon, husband, let's do this, teach me? When did it start?
It's hard to say because it kind of like happened naturally for me in the sense that like when I first watched him, it was at our second date. I went to his gig and watched what he was doing and being exposed to it for my first time and just watching him, like seeing how confident he is and passionate about it and just like understanding musically, like hearing what's going on. Like I can understand that even if I don't understand the technical terms. And it really like inspired me, like, wow, there's so much more into music that I can do and I'm not just limited to just playing like my instrument. And before I got behind the decks, actually, it was more so like during the lockdowns, he was working on edits and mashups on Ableton. And I would watch him and see how he would warp files and like make these mashups and stuff. And it started to, that's when it really like sparked my interest. Like, okay, like I want to dive deep into this because this is fun. Like, I really enjoy this. So one day I just decided on my computer I'd just go and buy Ableton for myself. And I was using Logic to make my music with. And I fully converted into it, and I turned around to ask him a question. Hey, how do I do this? Like, how do I warp this file? And he was kind of like shocked about it.
Yeah, she already had a mashup on the screen ready to go. And you know what makes her really good at DJing right off the bat is she's got that musician's ear. She has perfect pitch. So whereas a lot of us DJs, myself included, need to rely on key detection and things like that, she can just hear it. Wow. So for her, the mashups it was natural.
And in guitar too, like that's how I learned everything, by ear and like just being surrounded by other musicians and just diving into like to the open mics and just exposing myself to other people and just watching what they're doing.
Right. Did you do any research on, I mean, the female DJ as a whole is a big rarity, even in 2024, even though there's female DJs all over the place, it's a lot harder for women to really excel in this male-dominated field. But in your early days, did you do research on the female DJs that were out at that time? And if so, did you have a favorite? What did you learn? What did you see? Speak on that if you don't mind, real quick.
Honestly, like it was more so like you know how like with Instagram is like sometimes stuff will pop up on the news feed and like your Explore and stuff like that. So that's how I kind of like came across other female DJs mostly, and then some of the people that he's friends with on Facebook and watching what they're doing. And
right.
It's hard because like DJing's like kind of like a saturated market as it is, and there's so many different types of DJing out there, from open format, being a techno DJ and a scratch DJ. There's so many different things, but when it comes to like the female DJs, like it's a very, very small community, and there's an even smaller community of them that can like rock parties and be able to like scratch and all that too. So yeah. I admire all the ones that can.
Absolutely.
Our favorite female DJ is DJ Michelle.
Where is she from? I'm not familiar with her.
Yeah. She's young. She's only like, I don't know, like 10, 11. But
wow.
She's already like,
kills it.
Yeah.
There are these two girls, they're twins, Samira and Amira, I think.
Oh yeah, he loves them.
Yep,
oh my goodness. Yep. And I watched them, they were like young. They're like teenagers now, but I'm like, look at these. So yeah, the future is in very good hands when us old timers are done. So let's focus on Evovle DJs now. I just signed up for the course like 3 minutes before midnight because I wanted to. I'm not sitting on good money yet, but I really loved what I did. So teaching is a whole different aspect. You could easily go back and, you know, go to a club and just watch and just pick up things a little here and there, but you really take time to dissect how to scratch, how to blend, how to transition, how to do this. How did this come up? When did you first learn that you had a real positive, what's the word I'm looking for? That you really had a drive to want to teach this to other people to be better than you? Because, you know, I'm looking at you, you don't have really much ego, and you know you're a bad MF that can just tear anyone to shreds, but you really want to teach the next generation so that when we're done, the progression can continue to further along. Yeah. So how did Evolve DJ start? And just explain the narrative and the mission statement for those that have never heard it.
Yeah, definitely. So back in 2020, when everything was kind of shutting down, there was no parties to do or anything, I was just thinking about, okay, well, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I always want to do something DJ related because I love DJing.
Yeah.
So I started working on an online course about scratching. When I was practicing in 2019 for DMC, I was definitely training a lot, but there was these files that I really wanted to, like, I wanted someone else to make it at first. Like, it was something, I was looking for something, a type of training. I'll put it to you this way. I was looking for a specific type of training, and I couldn't find it. And that training was a metronome with scratches already on it that I could just follow and do the drills with. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, if you're trying to learn a 2-click flare, I wanted something that had a 2-click flare already on a metronome that I could hear how it sounds and then follow what I hear. You know what I mean? It's very hard to find stuff like that. So I couldn't find it. So I ended up making it myself. I made what I call scratch trainers for like all the foundational scratches, everything from the baby scratch all the way up to the 3-click orbit. I made these tools for myself so that I could train with them. And then, you know, so with that concept, I kind of built a course around that in 2020. You know, I took all those trainers, I made videos for each of them, and I you know, packaged it all up as a course, and I started to sell that just as a course. So that caught the attention of the Crate Hackers crew. So when the Crate Hackers crew saw it, they thought it was a really unique thing that stood out, because they looked at it like, okay, this isn't just a course, this is a system. Like, this isn't just you giving direction, this is like you giving direction and giving an actual tool to use with those directions to actually put it into action.
Right.
So when they saw that, we started working together, and that's how Evolve DJs formed. So, you know, they really helped me get it off the ground. They invested a lot of money in it at first without barely even knowing me, you know, to help me get the word out about it. And they helped me like learn how to, you know, do more live stuff instead of making everything pre-recorded. Because when you pre-record stuff, it could take forever. You know what I mean? Like, just sometimes if you have a message that you want to get out there, sometimes it's better to just do it live, because you're going to get it out there that way. You can't really overthink things or whatever. Like, you'll put out things a lot faster. So now what Evolve DJs is, what we do is we go live twice a week with our members, and Mondays we focus on scratching. So we'll do like, we call it the Monday Night Live Scratch Workout. We'll do exercises together. I'll walk everybody through it, and you know, we encourage everybody to go on Zoom and have their gear out and everything, and it's interactive, you know. Wednesday nights we work on mashups and other things pertaining to, like, you know, how we actually use the skills that we practice on Monday. How do we put it into a set? So Wednesdays we'll talk a lot about, you know, making mashups, building sets, building performances, all those kind of things. We call it the Mashup Mastermind. It's all about the ideas. And really what we're trying to do is we're trying to provide like a community that's non-judgmental, that's encouraging, where people can learn at their own pace and not feel self-conscious about where they are skill-wise, what equipment they're using, if they're male, female, no matter how old they are or how young they are, it doesn't matter, no matter where they're from. Like, we want to make a community that is accepting to everybody of all different styles and ways of DJing, and, you know, a place where we can all learn from each other. And, you know, the reason why I like to do it is because, you know, I remember, you know, when I was younger, like I said, I was in the middle of nowhere. I had nobody to like visually learn from, and I wish I did. So I want to provide that for people now. You know, now that I went through everything of like learning myself and doing all these different things to learn throughout the years and all my different experiences, I want to help other people you know, experience the same joy from having those skills that I do. And there is, I always joke about it, but it is true, is that I have one selfish reason. There's one selfish reason that I do this, and that is I want more dope DJs to listen to. Like, literally, I love, as much as I love DJing, I'm also a fan of DJing. Like, I love listening to dope DJs, and I just want more dope DJs to listen to. I want to give DJs the tools, and I don't want them to sound like me, but I want them to, like, you know, see what I do in order to do what I do, so that way they could take those same skills and concepts and apply it to their own style, and then in return give me something that can inspire me, you know?
Nice. That's dope. Okay, so you just mentioned that you love listening to DJs for just for entertainment purposes. So hypothetically speaking, let's say your birthday was in a week. Okay, a month. I'll give it a month. And you have the opportunity to hire or just get 5 of your favorite DJs to perform in one night. Who would those 5 DJs be that give the best creative performance that would just have you just on cloud nine?
Oh man, well, unfortunately Spinbad passed away. He would be the first guy I would pick, honestly. But I would say DJ Riz from Crooklyn Clan, because his live mixing is just so much fun. The way that he quick mixes is incredible. I would say I would definitely say DJ Revolution, originally from Massachusetts. He's one of the nastiest cutters. He's super.
Wait, Revolution's from Massachusetts too?
He's originally from Holyoke.
Okay.
Yeah. But he moved out to the West Coast way back in the day. So yeah, DJ Riz, DJ Revolution. Man, as far as like live performance goes, I'd have to say DJ Dynamics. He would be a lot of fun. I've seen him live before, but he's always a lot of fun to watch. DJ Fly from France, he's one of my favorite DJs just overall. Like, his overall skill set is just incredible. And you know what? I'm gonna say DJ Rena from Japan, because right now he's been killing. He's another young DJ. He's only like, I don't know, 18 or whatever. He won the whole DMC World Finals, like the whole thing when he was 12.
Wow, damn.
Yeah, so you should try to get him on here. Well, I don't know if he speaks English, but DJ Rena from Japan, look him up. But you know what? Recently, he's been putting out these videos on Instagram, just these mind-blowing beat juggles that he does with these 80s songs, and his patterns are just so crazy. Like, I don't even know like what he would be like rocking a party, but I don't even care. Like, I would just want to watch him do his tricks and just stand there in awe, and like, you know, like his style is just so dope these days. So definitely check out DJ Rena.
Desiree, I want to ask you the same question. 5 DJs that totally just give you the vibe of, yo, I'm ready to party right here, right now. Who would those 5 be?
That's tough. Well, I pretty much listen to a lot of like the same DJs, because we listen to the mixes together in the car. But I really love DJ Rectangle.
Okay.
He's an OG. DJ Fly is another one. I really love DJ Angelo. He's a big one.
Yeah.
And 2 more. I really like JFB. He's got a nice flow too.
You've always been a fan of him. Yeah, he's dope.
JFB.
He would be fun to watch.
And DJ Michelle.
Okay. I'm surprised neither one of you said Scratch Bastard or Jazzy Jeff. I'm so surprised. That's what I hear from everybody. You didn't mention those 2 names. Not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just surprised I didn't hear those names. But salute to those 2 as well. I'm gonna have to look up every last one of those names and really try to just learn more about them. In closing, because I know y'all have to get ready for the class, I want to give y'all time to get ready.
Tonight we got the night off.
Yeah, tonight's off.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's our next one.
Yeah. So Mondays and Wednesdays. So yeah, we're chilling.
All right. Well, I'm still gonna wrap up soon because I'm starting to get hungry and I got some other things I need to do. I just did a mashup actually, a Kanye West mashup of Gold Digger blended with Heavy D's Girls They Love Me, and it came out very, very well. I'm gonna have to send it to you so I can just get your feedback on it, if that's okay. Best experience live that you've had so far, both of you. And we're gonna talk about Team Ragoza and the mashup of the guitar and the DJ in just a second. Because that video that I did the backdrop for, I loved that whole thing. That was beautiful. But best live experience collectively and respectively thus far.
You go first. You have to think for a second.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that one for a second.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many live experiences that I've enjoyed because, like, I do a lot of different events as a DJ. I don't just do like one type. But I always say, like, my favorite events to do, if I had to choose, would be the raves, because those crowds just go crazy. You could play so many different like styles of music for them, and it's not like a crowd that, you know, they're expecting to hear you play something that they want. They're expecting you to take them on a musical journey. So I would say anytime I got to play for the crew that's known as Tight Crew, they throw like raves all throughout New England. Those are some of my favorite live experiences because those crowds are just so much fun. The love and energy that you feel, you know, off the crowd is just, it's hard to beat that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Desiree?
I think for me, collectively, yeah, like the Tight Crew performances that we did, that was like my favorite in live performance. In terms of like from my guitar career, I think one of my favorite performances that I always think about was like the very first day, the opening show day for when I was on Cirque du Soleil. We had our first show in Montreal after the rehearsals, all the blood, sweat, and tears I put into it. Mm-hmm. And it was my favorite because my sister and my grandmother came out. Even though my grandma was going through a lot of like health issues, she was going through chemotherapy, having lung cancer stuff, she still wanted to come and see me. So my sister and my grandmother, they took a flight all the way to Montreal just to come and see me opening night. And my grandma was sitting right in the audience out front, and I cried that night because I was so nervous. Just like, not just like, because I was like the first like biggest crowd I ever performed for, but more so nervous because like I wanted to make my grandma really proud. And that night I remember after the show ended and I got to see her and bring her to the after party and everything. It's just like, I was just hysterical because my grandma was like super happy to be there and just told me how proud she was of me, and it's just like it meant a lot to me. So
yeah, I could see that. Well, rest in peace, of course, and prayers and condolences go out. I'm sure she was happy now. She's smiling down in the heavens right now on you right now, is doing everything that you're doing. When it's all said and done, and I don't like to say, you know, you don't know when you're gonna walk away from this, but when you guys call it a career, because there's a start and a finish for everything professionally, and you look back on it, what do you all want to be remembered for, respectively and collectively? And then we're going to talk about Team Ragoza and the mashup that you all do.
Honestly, for me, like, just I want people to remember, just like, to never give up on their dreams and just to always hold on to it, and like whatever you're passionate about, like just go for it completely. And I stand on that so much because there's going to be a lot of people that bring you down and like try to stop you from what you're doing, but I want to be known for that person that didn't give up and really stuck with their passions, and just like no matter, like I might not be like total shred like a lot of like other guitar players like can go like a million miles a minute on the fretboard, but I want people to know like the drive and passion and just the enjoyment out of it that I have.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Brandon?
I just want to be remembered for ripping shit up.
Amen and amen. Now, I forgot the year, but I saw Jazzy Jeff playing with the Roots band. I think it was a 4th of July concert or something. And then they did like a back and forth with him and the guitar player. I wish I could find this video, but it was just so dope to see him and Captain Kirk go back and forth with riffs while he was scratching.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
It was rare. It was a rare. I remember I saw it one time, a long time ago. It probably got taken down. I have to try to find it again. But nonetheless, I'm just trying to get to the aspect of DJs rocking with live instrumentation. You guys turned this into an actual thing. So how did this mashup between the guitar and vocals and you on the turntables become a thing that's winning the world over? When did this start? And explain what it is people get when they book the two of you together.
Yeah, so once again, 2020, there was nothing to do, and we just were bored, and we made a couple of videos of us messing around, of me scratching and then her, you know, playing for, because you know the band Rage Against the Machine, you know how their guitarist Tom Morello can make the guitar sound like it's transforming. That's what she's able to do. She's able to scratch on the guitar better than most DJs can scratch on the turntables. And so we did like a couple of videos of like us scratching back and forth. We thought it'd be fun to do, and those videos really blew up, and people were already calling us Team Ragoza on social media and stuff like that. So we decided to when the world started opening back up, to actually like make a performance out of it. So, obviously we didn't want to make it just about scratching, but we figured, okay, the guitar has an advantage because the electric guitar can sound like so many different things. It can sound like percussive. It can be like a riser or a sound effect. It can play vocal lines. It can play synth lines. It could do so many different things. And then, if we combine that with the mashups that I'm already doing on the turntables, like we could just make an over-the-top high energy performance. And that's really what people get when they book us. So don't be booking us for any lounge shit. We don't do that. We do only high energy. Like we are the people you hire if you want your party rocked, right? If you want someone to show up and just play, like soft house music in the background, like tropical house remixes and all that, that ain't us. If you book us, you're gonna get, a high energy performance of, songs that but flipped in a different way that you're not expecting. You're gonna get intense shredding from Desiree. You're gonna get, power cuts from me, and it's just gonna be,
It's like a whole showcase performance, like concert.
Basically a 2-hour mega mix of just nonstop action happening the whole time.
Man,
We don't take breaks in between, no.
Yep.
that is just. I mean, how often do you two rehearse when you're getting ready to go on the road to do these collaboration sets that you all do?
I mean, technically we're always rehearsing because even when we're just like out and about, doing our everyday stuff, like if we're grocery shopping or something like that, we might hear a song and think, okay, we could do this with that, we could do that with that. And as
Our
far as
minds
like,
are always working.
yeah, and as far as like actual physical practice, I mean, we try to go through it, at least 3 or 4 times, like the whole set, at least 3 or 4 times before we do like the actual performance. Luckily for us, it might be hard for some other people to do, but it's not as hard for us because we already put that practice in. You know what I mean? Like we already, both separately and together, we've already put so many hours of practice in. So when it comes time to do a set, all we gotta do is, throw together some routines and practice it a few times, and we're good to go.
That's amazing. I don't think I really have anything. I mean, I think I've just gotten so much in this last hour. It's just been so amazing just to hear you two really just open up yourselves to us like this.
Yeah.
I'm greatly appreciated. I think my last question is, now you did a review for the Rev 5, and that's I'm going to get eventually. Eventually, when I save some money and stop spending on stuff I don't need. But you said that was better than the Rev 7. And I've talked to a lot of people about your review. Like I literally copied the paste and said, yo, watch his review. This will change your mind about the Rev 7. And I'll be like, nah, the Rev 7 is still better. Why do you say that the Rev 5 is better than the Rev 7?
Well, I should have said it more like the Rev 5 is better for me, because I personally think the scratching feels more buttery on the Rev 5 than the Rev 7. Something about the Rev 7's platters just don't really feel right to me. Like it's just, I don't know if they're too small or I don't know what it is, but the torque is too high. Also, yeah, the surface of them, when my fingertips get a little sweaty, it's very hard to like grip the surface and be as accurate with my cuts as I want to be. And then because the platters are like moving, but it's also a controller that's controlling Serato through internal mode, sometimes there's a little glitch that I get when the record's moving, when the platter's moving, and I'll go and I'll move the pitch adjustment, and the song will jump a couple beats on me, and it throws off the mix. I've had that happen on multiple Rev 7s that I've been on. Now, with that being said, I don't think it's a horrible controller. I think it's still one of the best, that you can get. But the Rev 5, you don't deal with any of that. It's just a lot more straightforward. And then also the stems controls was a big selling point for me, but now you can do that on both of them, so that's not really a difference now. The Rev 5 also has the tempo transition, which is really nice. If you do a lot of open format like I do, it's really nice to be able to, have custom transitions that you can set up right on the fly that can get you from 100 beats per minute to 128 beats per minute with the press of a button, and it makes, it makes things really easy. So the workflow of it for my style of doing open format with a lot of scratching and stuff like that, it's the perfect controller for me right now out of all the choices out there. But, I always tell everybody, try both of them before you buy them. When the Rev 7 was announced, I really thought I was going to love it. Like I was ready to buy it, but then I put my hands on it at the 2022 MEX DJ conference in Vegas, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to buy it. And then at the DJ Expo in Atlantic City last year, that's where I first saw the Rev 5. So I was able to mess around on it before I decided, okay, this is something I can see myself using.
Amen. All right. So in closing, I'd like, well, first of all, I want to thank you both for just taking the time out to join me, and thank you for everything for yesterday. And
well, thank you so much for having us. It's an honor being here.
Definitely.
Guys, we're going to have to do this again and again and again. Please send any DJs you know my way that would love this type of platform. I'd love to just build with the DJ community because I don't really get to rarely interview DJs a whole lot.
Yeah.
But in closing, let them know how they can find you on social media, your upcoming dates for people to come see you at. And then I'm going to sit back and be entertaining because I can't wait to see this routine between the two. So before we get into that, how can they find you on social media? Where are you performing next for people to see you at? Talk about Evovle DJs. The floor is yours. Run the gamut.
So everything is at DJ Ragoza for me, and between the two of us, we have the 3 brands. So we got DJ Ragoza, Desiree Ragoza, and Team Ragoza, and that's the handle for all of our socials. So anything, at Team Ragoza, at Desiree Ragoza, at DJ Ragoza, that's how you'll find us all across the board. For Evovle DJs, you want to check out evolvedjs.net/open. That's gonna give you all the information on how to sign up if you want to. I know, we've been having all these advertisements saying that the doors are closing, but we'll let, if anybody really wants to sign up, we'll let you in. We're not gonna not let anybody in. That's just the marketing guy going ham trying to get us some sign-ups and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But evolvedjs.net/open. That link will always work. You guys can check that out anytime. So yeah.
And where are you guys performing next? Where are you traveling to so people in that city can come see you?
We pretty much have shows all around Virginia Beach. I know he's got a couple coming up. He's going to be in Baltimore for the Baltimore Battle Blends this weekend.
This weekend I'm doing the blend battle in Baltimore, so that's going to be...
I saw that. I was like, I wish I could come to that because I would love to just see that in person because I'm all into... Who was the first blend DJ that you saw that made you just fall in love with the mashup?
It was probably Clinton Sparks, honestly, because he would do the kind of blends where every verse the beat would change, and I just thought that was so interesting. So
that was dope. Shout out to him, Ron G, and DJ Juice were the first 3 that I.
Oh yeah, they came before, but where I grew up, I didn't get to hear about them till later. But yeah, they're the originators of that style. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that Kid Capri was one of the first DJs to put a blend on a mixtape, but I could be wrong about that.
Tony, there's so many. Him, Tony Touch, Lazy K, SN. There's so many. There's just so many. They're all out there. But salute to all the blend mashup DJs that are out there. All right. So I asked these two if they could do a routine for me at the end of this, and it was like, we can definitely do something. So, all right,
we'll do a quick husband and wife scratch off. So we'll go back and forth a little bit.
All right.
I know what beat I want to play right here. We'll take it back in the day with some AZ Sugar Hill.
AZ. These are the Ragozas, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do a little quick routine for y'all. Close up this episode. Rap Sheet Podcast. Season 4, episode 6. Brandon and Desiree Ragoza. Team Ragoza. All their Instagrams right below in the banner. And I'm going to call back to what they do what they do. All right, Des. All right, Brandon, let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, all right. Round 2. Fight.
Yes.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful round of applause, and the kids cheer loudly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brandon Ragoza. That is Desiree Ragoza. Please follow them. Their Instagrams are right below. They have their respective websites. Man, like I said, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to do this. I totally appreciate it. I can't wait to learn. So I can't wait for the next class. I'm going to be there.
Definitely, man. Welcome to the Evovle DeeJays family, by the way. We're really happy to have you, man.
Thank you so much. I need to upgrade because I'm still using CDJ 1000s for the time being, but hopefully I can upgrade eventually. But hey, as long as I got Serato DJ and an S9, that's all I need.
Oh yeah, you're good to go, man. I spent plenty of time scratching on CDJs, so yeah, you're in good shape, man. Especially with that S9.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate y'all. That's Brandon Ragoza. That's Desiree Ragoza. Team Ragoza's in the building. Salute to everyone who tuned in today. Thank you so much, and I will see you all again next week. Thank you guys once again. God bless y'all.
Definitely.
All right.